art. I suck at it. And you know what the sad thing is? I used to suck a little less at it. I allowed my skills to atrophy quite considerably. Hence why I started this series, to be able to do art and make it into content, because I enjoy making content and I want more practice editing videos with my new video editing software that I'm using. And so today I have a piece that I have to finish. I'm starting a new Let's Play on my gaming channel, Mick Flubberpants Plays. There'll be link somewhere, this new Let's Play is of Stray, the game where you play as a cat in a cyberpunk future, which is right up my alley. But for my Let's Plays, I do custom title cards and thumbnails with art. And I haven't done the art for this one yet. And I need to do the art for it. Now, I don't normally draw animals. I normally draw people, and so this is gonna be an interesting one for me. And yeah, I'm gonna take you along. Gonna take you along the journey. Gonna do a whole thing, you know. Just do a thing, you know. Just gotta do it. Because if I don't do it, who will?
So this drawing started out like most of the drawings I do, by procrastinating. Once I ran out of unrelated tasks, I started by figuring out the basic layout of the piece. Because this particular drawing only featured a cat, the composition and layout was ultimately going to be decided by its pose, so that's what I ultimately focused on. When I draw a character pose, I will start with a very rough gestural sketch. I will use this initial sketch to decide the rest of the drawing, so I try to make it as close to final as possible without adding too much detail. In this instance, I also decided to label the hat and computer thing to make sure I knew what they were in the future. You know, in case I had to walk away from the piece for an extended period of time, which does sometimes happen. Once the first sketch was done, I decided to pull up a picture of a sleeping cat for reference. I really should have done this from the beginning, but at least I did it before I was finalizing the line work. Each additional sketch I do, I make sure it's on a separate layer and in the opposite color to make it easier to see any changes I am making.
How do you draw fur?
Why do you say like that?
Because I don't know how to draw fur. Look. You know what that is?
What?
Do you know what it is?
A bunny?
No.
A cat?
Yes.
What are you drawing?
I'm drawing a cat sleeping.
What is the cat's name?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Oop, bonk.
Do you want to call it?
I still haven't even decided what color it's going to be. Right now I'm just figuring out its pose.
Yeah, many of the drawings I do end up pushing my abilities these days. This mostly stems from me being so out of practice that I've honestly gotten significantly worse at art than I was a few years ago. I really struggled with trying to think how I was going to draw the fur. I decided to just keep going and figure it out in the coloring phase of the piece. After one more sketch, I was happy with the pose and decided to finalize the line work. In this piece, I wanted the line work to be clean, so I made sure to turn on line smoothing and proceeded very carefully. Once I was done with that, I decided to add a vignette to the piece. I did this on a whim. I wanted to see what it would look like with one, and I liked it quite a bit. Decided to keep it.
I've gotten to the point where I need to decide what the colors are. I'm taking a quick break to come back to it because I often can't decide these kinds of things right away. And coloring is like I'm okay. My line work is all right. Coloring is the really hard part for me. I always put it off whenever I do any kind of art, and a lot of art does not get finished because I don't want to color it. I still haven't decided what color the cat's gonna be, because the main character in Stray is orange, but I prefer black cats, quite frankly. I don't know. I have to figure it out. And as I'm here, I realize that my goodness, look at all of this nonsense. I got a lot of my like project stuff onto a shelf, but I have all this camera stuff. I think I'm gonna build a shelf to put it on, but that will be a different video, not this one. This will also be a different video. I'm working on a thing, promising more content for you guys. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to see all that more content. Anyway, we're gonna get back to this project after making a quick trip to pick up the spouse who is currently at work. It is the next day because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, but now I have to do something because I'm running out of footage from the Mass Effect Let's Play. So I need to get this done today, or else it's gonna be not good. Not good. And this needs to get done, and I don't have a lot of time to get it done because we're hosting a little cookout today. So I gotta get it done. I gotta get it done. Whoa. Are you bothering Boba?
No, I'm just playing with my toy, and Bubba's always going the wrong way, but where my toy is going. That was really goofy.
I think you're bothering Boba.
No, I'm not.
You sure?
Yeah.
And now it was time to hunker down and get started with the colors. Colors are probably my biggest weakness when it comes to art. I have always struggled with color. It has led me to completely avoid coloring in the past. But if I want to get better, I have to keep practicing, so I made the decision to use a more painterly style for the color. I did this for both the practice and also to imply the fur a little bit more than how my normal cell shading style would have. I started with the hat. The cat in this game doesn't wear a hat, but I used to wear newsboy caps all the time, and that has seeped into most of my marketing. You can see it on my current channel logos, previous logos, and in a few of my videos. Actually, I am in the market of buying another newsboy cap. The issue is that it's difficult to find hats that fit my fat head, but I found a company that specializes in big-headed hats, so look forward to seeing the cap make a triumphant return. The coloring of the hat played a big role in establishing my light source, another art thing that I really struggle with. Because of that, I knew I wanted to nail it right away, so making sure that the first thing I colored to establish a light source was very important to me. And once I was happy with it, I moved on to coloring the rest of the cat. I started with adding a bunch of gray. I don't know why, I just really went with the flow with this piece, I guess. That's actually one of the things I really appreciate about Sketchbook. The wet medium simulation in this software is really good, especially for a free program. That's what allows me to take a really relaxed and improvisational approach with my coloring. I have several different art programs, a couple free and a couple paid for, and I consistently find myself going back to Sketchbook because of how powerful and feature-rich the software is. Anyone looking to get into digital art, I highly recommend getting Sketchbook. Autodesk Sketchbook, specifically, because it's an Autodesk product, or was. It's a little complicated. It started out as not Autodesk, and then it became Autodesk, because Autodesk bought it. Then after that, it kind of separated itself. But if you look up Autodesk Sketchbook on Google, it should still pop up. A good example of just how good the software is for beginners is the hairbrush. It's a default preset brush that's already perfect for what it sets out to do, which is smudging the colors in such a way that heavily implies hair and fur. Trust me when I say that a default preset brush is already perfect for the job at hand. That is kind of a big deal when it comes to art programs, because that is exceptionally rare. But it's not just that brush, it's everything. The way the other brushes and the colors interact with each other seamlessly. It allows me to play with the colors a lot more easily than most of the other art programs I've used. Please go to Google and look up Autodesk Sketchbook. If you're ever gonna do any kind of art on any kind of digital device, it's not just for Windows, it also runs on Apple Mac, it also runs on mobile devices. Just do it, please. It's free. Did I mention it was free? This incredible piece of software is completely free. Alright, enough tech demo talk. At this point, I started building the colors up. I'm essentially creating a foundation of color that I could manipulate later. I'm not really too worried about the accuracy right now. I'm just throwing color on the page for me to refine. This is not how I've typically colored my pieces in the past. For pretty much all of my other artwork, I've used a more precise cell shading style. But I wanted to do something a little different for this piece.
Some of you might be wondering, is it really worth going to all this effort, especially since my viewership is so low and nobody really cares about title cards and how they look? And the practical answer, is no, it doesn't really matter, but it matters to me. I want to be able to express myself artistically again, and the only way I'll be able to get back to the skill set that I used to have is if I keep practicing more and more. It just means that I have to keep doing this, and I have to keep finding avenues where I can practice, and I have a really hard time practicing without actually having a thing that I'm working on. So I'm wanting to take every opportunity to try and to try for lack of a better word. Ooh, yeah, that's not what I wanted.
As I'm coloring, I'm trying to establish subtle shading as well, just kind of as a guide to help me finalize it later. Slightly darker colors where I'm going to add shadows, slightly lighter, more washed out colors where the highlights are going to be. I made sure my midtones were nice and saturated. I also added some lighter lines in the fur to break up the uniformity of it, making it look more natural. I'm using a technique where I lay down color in the general area of where I want it, and then I used the many smudge and blur brushes available to move the color around and fill in the gaps. I really liked the texture this technique produced, and it's new to me, okay? I'm trying to explain it, and it's difficult. I'm not doing a good job. Moving on. Now that I had filled the cat with color, I moved to the shadows. More accurately, I started painting in the shadows in the middle of the cat. This required a lot of attention because I had a very tight space to work with, and the style I was using is inherently imprecise. I knew that this was going to be one of the spots that I was going to be drawn to when looking at the piece, so I wanted to make sure that it looked good. Once I was happy with it, I added more shadows to the rest of the cat, much more subtle ones, but still there. Once again, I used the hair smudge brush tool to mix the lighter parts of the fur with the darker parts to really sell that this was fur and not a flat surface. Yeah. The strap here, this is the little computer thing in the game. I'm gonna have that be a bit more marker-y, I guess, than painterly. I don't know. I want the screen to be on, though. I just want it to be glowing, so I'll take care of that last, I think, though. So, do I do a new layer? No, actually, I don't want to do a new layer. I'll keep it in the same layer because of the interactions it has with the fur. It's going to be better if it's in the same layer. I'm going to make the strap very, very, very dark blue. I decided to color the strap a dark navy. Blue is my favorite color, and I've always particularly liked navy. However, I wanted to make sure that the strap was a different enough color from the hat so that they wouldn't clash or look weird. And I can tell you from experience that a lot of the best straps are going to be a darker color. I did want the computer screen on the strap to be on and emitting a glow. I flirted with the idea of adding some kind of symbol to the screen early on in the making of this drawing, but I decided against it. I didn't feel confident in my ability to make it look good, and I really needed to finish the thumbnail later that day, so I couldn't waste any time at all. Sometimes having a strict deadline is the best way to make sure that a project gets done. It forces you to make the necessary sacrifices, and actually allows you to finish by doing that, because you're not stuck trying to get something to work that was probably never going to work anyway. I wanted to paint the glow, but as I was putting down the color, I was having difficulty figuring out if I liked it or not. I realized that I couldn't really get an idea of how the glow looked without the background being colored in, so I decided to take the time to go ahead and finish the background first. Really make sure that it was good and done. Yeah, I just went with a solid color for the background this time. What? Did you think I was suddenly going to be better at drawing environments without practicing and with such a strict deadline? Anyway, with the background color in place, I realized that I needed to add more white to the glow to really make it pop, Adding the color to the background also exposed the biggest con when using this more painterly and smudgy style for the coloring. I had lots of color outside of my lines that I didn't see until I added a dark background. So I had to take a significant amount of time cleaning up the overspill. Another thing about using this style of coloring is that you end up with a lot of the color being semi-transparent. So I decided to add a layer of soft white and soft black underneath the color layer to fill it in and make the colors a little more solid. Again, finding it very difficult to kind of explain. And of course, since I added the backing layer of color, it meant I had more overspill to clean up too. Coloring's hard. Once I was finally done with the cleaning, I had come to a decision about the color of the pillow. I decided to color it maroon because that's another color that I really like, and I think it goes really well with navy and gray. I also made sure to add some pretty dark shadow on it. I really tried to make it look like a soft pillow and not a rock. I don't really know if I succeeded, but I was happy with the result. With the pillow complete, that marked the end of the drawing phase of creating the title card and thumbnail for the Let's Play. All I had to do next was add the text. But I had something else I needed to do first.
So, I've recently adopted and doing creative work where for every hour I am consistently productive, I take a 10-minute break. So I work for 15 minutes to an hour, and I take at least a 10-minute break after that. And I have found that it has helped me get a lot more work done. And that is true no matter what the work is, whether it's art, video editing, anything creative. Right now I'm spending my 10-minute break eating some food and watching Bluey, apparently, with my son.
And after my delicious lunch, I was ready to finalize this title card. All I really needed to do was add the Stray logo and make Flubber Pants Plays somewhere on there. And also leave enough room for legible numbers in the corner so that the thumbnail shows what part each video is. I do all of my text-based layout anything in Photoshop. I started with the PNG of the drawing, and once I had that where I wanted it, became obvious where to put everything else. It was actually pretty easy finalizing this piece, and yeah, I was very happy with the result.
Nice. Yes! Oh, I did it.
What did you do?
I finished my drawing.
Yes!
In fact, it was worth celebrating with a delicious and nutritious smoothie.
Breakfast. It is now the next day, the day after the last shot you saw, and my son is going crazy in the background. I'm not sure if you can hear that. Finished the thumbnail, and the reason why it took me until the next day to shoot this video is because I was battling a rendering issue all night last night instead of shooting this outro. I did manage to fix it. Everything's fine. And yeah, I'm really proud of how it turned out. Particularly the color work. This is particularly good colors for me. If you look at any of the previous art I have posted online, color is a constant struggle for me. And it's still going to be a constant struggle for me. But you know what? That's okay. That is okay. It's something to work on in this series. You can watch the Stray Let's Play now. It is officially uploaded, or the first part is officially uploaded as of this video. There will be a link to my gaming channel in the description, as well as a link to the Stray Let's Play. I hope to see you guys there. Alright. See you around, everybody. I'm gonna finish my breakfast.
With the pillow complete, that marked the end of the drawing phase of creating the title card and thumbnail for the Let's Play. Next, I needed to add the text, but I had something else to do first. Let's try that again. That was terrible. A terrible read. You should be ashamed of yourself, Matthew.